Hello and welcome to my channel everyone. Hope everybody is doing absolutely fine. So in this particular video I'm going to start with transport of gases, and this is again a very important topic. So watch this video till end. If you have any query, write it in the comment section. Like this video, subscribe to my channel and also share it with your friend. So let's start this topic, which is transport of gases. So under transport of gases we will see here that the major sites which are involved for gaseous exchange are alveoli, blood and tissues. Now alveoli are the primary site for the exchange of gases. So what gaseous exchange is taking place from alveoli? We are mainly going to talk about oxygen and we are going to talk about carbon dioxide changes. Now what this P denotes? This P basically a partial pressure. Now partial pressure is basically that particular individual gas pressure from the mix of atmospheric gases. That means it is a individual pressure of a gas existing in a mixture of atmospheric gases, and this partial pressure is denoted by this capital P. Now in alveoli the partial pressure of oxygen is more than the partial pressure of carbon dioxide, which is for oxygen it is around 104 millimole mercury, and for CO2 it is around 40 millimole mercury. Now how the transportation will occur we will see in a while, but before that oxygen and carbon dioxides, how they are getting transported. So basically what is happening here is by the simple diffusion. Now simple diffusion means that there is no requirement of energy, and this diffusion is along the concentration gradient. And the partial pressure or the oxygen which is higher in alveoli will move from its higher, that is alveoli, to the lower partial pressure. That means in alveoli the partial pressure is more for oxygen, which is 104, and this partial pressure is for alveoli. And in tissues the partial pressure for oxygen is 40 millimole mercury. Now this transportation of oxygen by simple diffusion along the concentration gradient is getting lowered. So we can understand that in the tissues the oxygen level is less than the oxygen pressure in alveoli. Now the things are reversed for carbon dioxide. In tissues the carbon dioxide or the partial pressure for carbon dioxide is more than the partial pressure for oxygen. So for oxygen we had seen that it is 40 in tissues, and for carbon dioxide it is around 45 millimole mercury. So what we are able to understand from these things, that the major sites are the alveoli, blood and tissues, and the partial pressure for oxygen in alveoli is higher and carbon dioxide is low, and in tissues where this blood have to be reached or the oxygen have to be reached through the blood. So blood is the carrier of gases. Now in tissues we can see here the partial pressure for carbon dioxide is more and the partial pressure for oxygen gets lower because the diffusion is from higher to its lower partial pressure. So now from this particular chart we will try to understand that how the transportation of gases are taking place from when it is present in the atmosphere. So in atmospheric air the partial pressure of oxygen which is inspired by alveoli, and from alveoli through the blood capillaries when it reaches to tissues, and then to the blood which is a deoxygenated blood. So now what we can see here that the partial pressure of oxygen in atmospheric air, it is 159 millimole mercury. So millimole mercury is basically the unit in which we write partial pressure. So it is a standard form of writing partial pressure. Now next what we can see here that the partial pressure for CO2 in the atmosphere is 0.3 millimole mercury. Now when it is inspired and it reaches alveoli, what we can see that the partial pressure of oxygen is 104 millimole mercury and the partial pressure of CO2 is 40 millimole mercury. Now what we can see that after when it moves from alveoli towards the blood capillaries, the partial pressure of oxygen is 95 and the partial pressure of CO2 is 40 millimole mercury. Now next what we can see here we can see some of the changes, like the partial pressure get lowered from 104 to 40, and what we can see that the oxygen is getting reduced, and from 104 it becomes 40 millimole mercury. And what we can see that CO2 is getting increased. So basically this CO2 is not increasing, it is basically the carbon dioxide which are formed by the metabolic reactions at the cellular level. So in tissues where the cellular respiration like activities are occurring, then the CO2 are released in a high amount. Tissue level we can see the carbon dioxide is more, so basically it is getting released, and now the blood which is in deoxygenated form is having more concentration or more partial pressure for carbon dioxide than oxygen. So now we will understand that how blood fluid is responsible for transportation of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So first we will see about oxygen. So oxygen binding with RBC is higher than the plasma. So we can see here that 97% of the oxygen is getting binding with the RBC. So why RBC is getting binding with the oxygen? Because of the Fe+2 ion. Now Fe+2 iron or iron containing pigment is hemoglobin, which is basically having 4 sites where the oxygen is getting binded, and it forms 4HbO8. That is the complete formation of binding of hemoglobin with the oxygen. Now secondly we can see that only 3% is getting dissolved with the plasma because the oxygen having less solubility with water, that's why there is only 3% plasma, 3% binding with oxygen in plasma. Now next we will see about carbon dioxide. So what we can see here that carbon dioxide is mostly getting binded in the form of bicarbonate ions, and 23% with RBCs, and with the binding of RBCs it is known as carbamino hemoglobin. So hemoglobin I am writing in a short way, H, capital H and small b. So this is known as carbaminohemoglobin, and 7% is through the plasma. Now 7% here we can see that carbon dioxide is having high affinity for binding with the plasma than oxygen with plasma. Why? Because oxygen get easily dissolved in the plasma, but again what we can see that it is only 7%. So basically when CO2 reacts, CO2 gets bind with the plasma, that which is having a water content, so the product from with the plasma is carbonate. So CO2 plus water of plasma, this gives carbonate, H2CO3. But the process for the formation of this carbonate, and then it getting breakdown into bicarbonate form plus hydrogen ion. So let me complete this reaction. HCO3 minus plus hydrogen ion. So in plasma, when this CO2 gets binded with the H2O, the formation of carbonate, and from carbonate the formation of bicarbonate and hydrogen ion is a very slow process, and same reaction is taking place here where we can see that bicarbonate ion. So this is because of the presence of enzyme carbonic anhydrase, which catalyzes the reaction. So now we will understand about that how transportation of oxygen takes place and what are the factors that affect the binding of hemoglobin with oxygen. So first we will see here that 97% of RBCs are responsible for transportation of oxygen. Now how this transportation of oxygen taking place with the RBCs is because of the pigment which we had seen. So here is the reaction which shows that how oxygenation takes place. So basically oxygenation is the binding of hemoglobin with the oxygen. Now this particular hemoglobin binding with oxygen is known as oxyhemoglobin, that is hemoglobin. So this binding depends on the partial pressure of oxygen. So I had plotted a graph, we will discuss it here. So high partial pressure of oxygen gives more oxygen binding. So high oxygen, we know it is mainly present in the alveoli. So in alveoli and in the blood capillaries which is flowing from alveoli towards the tissues, we had seen that the partial pressure are higher in those cases, and when it reaches to the tissues, the oxygen get dissociated from the hemoglobin. Now high PO2, more oxygen binding until saturation point is attained. So basically saturation point is the point up to which this hemoglobin can bind with the oxygen, and this oxygen binding with the hemoglobin is dependent on this partial pressure of oxygen. So now what are the factors which basically affect this sigmoidal curve? How? We will see that factors like pH. Now pH, when it gets lower, so what will happen when pH gets lower? The hydrogen ions are released, and what hydrogen ions when get higher in number, what it happens? It gives the condition acidic. It makes the condition acidic. Now making the condition acidic, so acidic condition we had seen in the tissues where the carbon dioxides are produced, and when carbon dioxide gets involved with the water, it gives a carbonic acid. So this is basically the case where we can say that carbon dioxide's number may get increased, that can affect the oxygen. Now when pH is low, that means the hydrogen ion concentration is more, and this can give a condition acidic. So basically pH of blood is around it is slightly alkaline, which is 7.4, and what will happen if these conditions occur, and other conditions are like other than hydrogen ion concentration, there are temperature that can affect. If the increase in temperature, then also the conditions are the same. The condition what we can see, that partial pressure of CO2 is getting increased, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is getting increased. So these are the factors which will affect, and what will happen, this graph will move slightly towards right. So suppose this is 7.4 and this is the acidic condition, moving towards more acidic condition, it becomes 7.1, right? Now similarly the case can be reversed, or the graph will get towards left when the oxygen is more and it is getting more alkaline. So when acidic condition occurs, the graph is right side, and when conditions move towards alkaline, it becomes left side. So in left side, we can say that the pH may increase to 7.5 or 6 or even more than the actual or the pH, standard pH of blood. So now we will see that how transportation of carbon dioxide occurs, and we had already discussed about how the 7% of transportation is with the plasma, and we had seen that in plasma the enzyme carbonic anhydrase is absent. That's why the mechanism is slower, and the 70% is the bicarbonate ion form, and this 70% takes place in the RBC. Now in RBC, what we can see, that carbon dioxide binds with the water of this RBC, and in the presence of carbonic anhydrase, what we can see, the product form is the carbonate. So after carbonate formation, what we see here, that it get dissociated into bicarbonate ion form and hydrogen ion is released. So if this hydrogen ion number will keep on increasing within the RBC, so what can happen, it can increase the acidity of the RBC. So to neutralize the RBC, what happens, this hemoglobin binds with this hydrogen ion. So what hemoglobin did here is that it regulated the acidity of blood. So it acted like a buffer. Now we will see that how this bicarbonate ion is moving out of this RBC. So when this bicarbonate ion is moving out into the plasma from RBC, what we can see, that in plasma there is an NaCl, and the Cl is getting inside of the RBCs. Now the entry of this chloride ion into the RBC is known as chloride shift. Now when this chloride will get enter, in exchange of this chloride, the bicarbonate ion releases into the plasma. So for the transportation of carbon dioxide, it is important that the saturation of oxyhemoglobin should be lower. Then only this carbon dioxide will get binded. So now at last we will see that how transportation of carbon dioxide is taking place when it is binding with the hemoglobin. So how the binding is occurring, we will see it. So 23% we had discussed this, and about 7% plasma. Now the remaining 23% of CO2 will get binded in the form carbaminohemoglobin. So basically what happens here, the carbon group of CO2 binds with the now this is important point, globin part of hemoglobin. It's bind with the globin part of hemoglobin. So basically globin is a protein part, and this protein part, which is globin, is having a terminal amino group. So this carbon group binds with the amino group of this globin protein of hemoglobin, and that's how the carbaminohemoglobin is formed. And this is how the 23% of CO2 is getting transported. So now I believe that you are able to understand the concept of transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and you can also share it with your friends. Please write your comment in the comment section and give your feedback and suggestions. And you can also follow me on my Instagram page. The link is in the description box. Thank you for watching.